Okay, I'm back. Hopefully you got the supplies you needed and your notes have the example at the bottom and the rule. And so we're going to take this and apply it to some equations. So you'll notice that this explore activity is listed on that page. If it kind of goes through the instructions that I went through, but hopefully you already did this. Because basically what the question was is how do you know the sum of the angles in a triangle? Basically, how do you use them, to find an unknown angle? Well, first we had to make sure we knew what they all added up to. And now we know that they add up to 180. We can use it to find unknowns. So go ahead and turn the page in your math book. And we're going to work a couple of the examples together. Okay. And then tomorrow, Wednesday, I will post some more practice problems for you guys to do either on notebook paper or some might be from the book. We'll see. I'm trying to decide which ones I really want y'all to do. So this one says the sum of the measure of angles in a triangle is 180 degrees. We already put this in our notes, so we're good. We have that. Boom. Whenever you see M, just some of you, I'm not quite sure if you learned this in 5th grade or not, so I'm not sure. But when you see this right here, M, and then this little kind of symbol for an angle, let me make it a little bigger over here. Okay, that's a symbol for like an angle. It's basically saying the measure of angle 1. That's how you read it, the measure of angle 1. So this is saying the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 3 equals 180 degrees. We probably should have put that in our notes when we wrote that rule, but you'll be seeing this a lot in the future. So the example is basically saying, okay, here's a building, and the top of it, we have this triangle, and it's called Fountain Place, and it's 720-foot Dallas skyscraper. Can't even talk. Find the measure of the unknown angle in the triangle at the top of the building. So they're saying, this angle. They're telling you this angle, but what is that angle? What's the unknown? And so they wrote in the equation, if I know this rule, the measure of one angle plus the measure of the second angle plus the measure of the third angle equal to 180, which is this rule, right, that we wrote right here. Okay, we just didn't write it in the measures. Then I can go ahead and write an equation. So here is my equation right there. They wrote an equation that says what I know is 65 plus x, this plus this is going to equal 180. Now, doesn't this just look like those equations you guys were doing yesterday on that little carnival activity where it was a 2-step equation? So the first thing you had to do, though, and this one, this is similar. They were a little different yesterday. You had to move a number. But this time they're just going to combine it. It's less like combining like terms, but you're just adding. They add 65 and 65 together and they get 130, or they're using order of operations, however you want to explain it, but they're combining what they can. So this is the first step. Then they combine it to this. Now this looks very similar. Notice they did the minus 130. They put the line because it's addition or subtraction. Sorry, I underlined it. That kind of makes things messy. I shouldn't have done that. Subtracting 130 from both sides, and they get x equals 50. So they know that this is 50 degrees. So if they wanted to check their work, they should be able to add 65 and 65 and 50 and come up with 180. So now you guys are going to try a couple of them down here. Got too much junk on my dining room table. Actually, you know what? What am I doing? Hang on. Let me just move the camera. I'm moving everything on my table. There we go. Camera's got a big long neck. Ooh. All right. That's better. All right. So find the unknown angle of measures, but I also want you to write an equation first. Okay. So the whole reason that I'm even introducing you guys to Module 15 is to show you that you can write equations for, anything involving missing angles, and they get kind of complicated. Triangles are a really easy way to start. So I know basically that this plus this is going to equal 180. So I'm going to write an equation that says 55 plus 100 plus x equals 180. Then I'm going to go ahead and combine these two because I know I can. That's 155 plus x equals 180. Then how do I solve for x? I'm going to subtract 155 from this side, subtract 155 from that side. These cancel each other out because it's a positive and a negative. It's a zero pair. So now I have down here my x is equal to, and I know they already have it there, but I'm just rewriting it. My 180 minus 50. What is that? 35, 25. Is that right? 55, 65, 75, 80. Yes. Okay, so I know my x is 25. So this angle is 25 degrees. Some of you may already done it, solved it with mental math. Good for you. But again, just like when we were doing in module 12, this isn't about can you solve it with mental math. This is can you set up an equation and can you actually show me how to do a 1-step and 2-step, eventually 3-step, 4-step equations. Okay, so this one, let's try another one. Pause for a second. I want you to set up an equation, write your equation up here, and then solve for it and see if you can figure out what the missing angle is. Okay, so take a second and do that and then come on back. Okay, I'm assuming you're back. So I'm going to go, this time I'm just going to put the x here. Does it matter what I put first? No, because we know the commutative property. When I'm adding, I can put things in any order, right? So I'm going to do x plus 71. So that's one angle, plus 56. That's my other angle. I'm adding all of these three together, and it's going to equal 180. Right? I didn't leave very much space. So first thing I want to do is do x plus, and I'm going to add 71 and 56, which should be, let's see, 127. Is that right? No. Yes. Okay. 127 equal 180. So if it's doing this on the fly, I'm trying to do mental math. If you need to write out your addition to the side, write out your addition to the side. Okay, so then the next thing I'm going to do is subtract 127. Subtract 127 from both sides of these. Cancel each other out, right? Because it's a zero pair. And now I have 180 minus 127, which will be 43. All right, 60, no, 53. No, 43. Wait, 53. It's late in the day when I'm doing this, guys. Hopefully you guys are not doing this late in the day. I've had a long day. Okay, it is, I think, 7 o'clock in the evening, so Miss Moffat's brain is tired. Okay, so hopefully I subtracted or added right. I know I have the answer key around here somewhere. Let's just see how I did. Okay, maybe I don't. No, I don't have the answer key. That's okay. Hopefully it's right. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so let's do a couple more. Now on this one, these are really simple because you're just adding. Okay, so you have to kind of remember some things about these are just like either acute or obtuse angles. If you forget, by the way, what different triangles are, there's this really cool thing in the back of the book called a index. I didn't even realize this was here. Oh, the table of measures is back here. What page is this? I don't even know. It's just in the back where all the orange is. Check out all the formulas that are back here. Like we didn't even get to all these formulas. Check it out. Y'all are going to do all this stuff next year, and surface area and all these lovely formulas are going to be awesome. Yes, table of measure is back here. It's the very last page in the book. So those are pretty cool. You might want to tear these out, put them in your math spiral and have them for next year. But if you go to there's a glossary back here. You can look up every kind of triangle if you forget what they are. So if you forget, what is an isosceles triangle? Go to the eyes. Let me see the E, F, G, I. Here we go. Let's look for the picture of the triangle. There it is. Okay, an isosceles triangle, a triangle with at least two congruent sides. So at least two of these sides, at least two sides have to be congruent, which means they're the same size, same length. So yeah, you can look up all the triangle stuff in the back if you have some trouble with it. Okay, so this one is talking about an equilateral triangle. Finding the angles in an equilateral triangle. Recall that an equilateral triangle has three congruent sides and three congruent angles. Congruent means same measurement, exactly. So that means the length of each side is exactly the same, and then the measure of each angle is exactly the same if it's a equilateral. So just think equilateral, equal, everything's equal, the sides, the angles, and everything. So the formula for an equilateral triangle can be 3 times whatever one of the angles is equal to 180 because they're all the same measurement. Does that make sense? This x plus this x plus x. So it's basically saying x, which is basically equals to 3x, right? So that's where the 3x comes from. 3 times x, or repeated addition, is the same as multiplication. That's not to be confused with exponents. It's not repeated multiplication. It's just repeated addition. So just like whenever you guys had one-step equations where it was a multiplication relationship, you use division to solve it. They take both sides of the equation and divide by 3, and then they get x is equal to 60. So we know that each one of these angles is 60 degrees, which makes sense because 180 divided by 3 is 60. Again, you could do it mental math, but can you write an equation and prove it to me in an equation? That's what I'm looking for. That's the new learning, okay? So I want you to come down here. This one says write an equation to find the unknown angle measure in each triangle. Okay, they're not even showing you a picture of a triangle. They don't have to show you a picture of a triangle. They can just give you 2 measures. And if you know 2, can you find the third by writing an equation and solving for it? So I'll do the first one with you. This first equation I'm going to do, and there's not a lot of space here, so I'm going to actually write it up here for number 6. I have 25 plus 65 plus x, which is my unknown, is equal to 180 because they told me it was a triangle, and I know that all 3 angles of a triangle add up to 180. We already proved that, right? So the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and add these. So 60, 80, 90 plus x equal 180. Oh, this is going to work out really easy. Subtract 90 from both sides. Okay, these cancel out, and x is equal to 90. So I know that it said find the unknown angle. So in this one, the unknown angle is 90 degrees. Okay, so I want you to pause the video for a second and try number 7. And, well, let me do the first number 7 together because it's different. I'm sorry. The measure of 2 of the angles are 60. Okay, that's really not that hard, is it? It's telling us 2 of the angles are 60, which means I have 60 plus x equals 180 degrees, right? And then let's solve this one. 2 of the angles are 35. 35 plus x equal 180. Can you solve those? Try, and then unpause when you're done. Okay, did you really pause, or are you just going to follow along? Honest, try it. You guys can do this. It's just you. All right, so when I add 160 and 160, I get 120 plus x equals 180. Subtract 120 from both sides. Subtract 120 from both sides. These cancel out. X is equal to 60. So my voice squeaked because I'm growing up. 60 degrees is the missing angle on this one. And then this last one, 35 and 35, that's just 70 plus x equals 180. Subtract 70 from both sides. These cancel out. These, this becomes 110. So 110 degrees is the missing angle on that one. And let's see if I actually got these right. 90, 60, 110. Sweet. I got them right. Shocking. Okay. Let me see. Do we need to do any more? Okay. I think I'd like you guys to pause the video and don't worry about, well, actually, let me just do number 2 with you. And then I want you to pause the video and try 3, 4, and 5. And then I'm just going to put up the answer key rather than working them. And you can see how you did just to save time. So on this one, they're using the formula, the measure of angle R plus the measure of angle S plus the measure of angle T. So they're saying these 3 angles together is equal to, we're going to fill in 180 because we know that. Okay. And then I'm going to add what I have here, 42. Is the measure of angle R. 105 is the measure of angle S. And then X is my unknown, and I know it's equal to 180. I'm going to add these 2 together. I'm going to get 147 plus X equals 180. Subtract 147 from both sides. These cancel out. This ends up being 33. So this should be 33 degrees. Okay, so I want you to take a second. Let's see, did I do it right? I did. It's shocking. Pause the video Don't just shout out an answer. I want you to actually work these by writing an equation, showing that you add the two together first, then subtracting from both sides and coming up with the missing angle. Because this is all about using everything we know about equations to apply it to geometry. This is some real easy, very introductory stuff. Okay. But I wanted to show you some of the things you can apply one-step equations to. There's lots of things you can apply it to. This is just the beginning. So pause, give it a try. Okay, you're back. So I'm assuming you did it. So I'm just going to zoom in. I didn't work them. I'm just going to zoom in on the answer key so you guys can check your work on 3, 4, 5, and 6. You should have gotten 42 degrees, 62 degrees, 119 degrees, and 60 degrees. But you should have also written some equations. Like you should have equations here that show, 96 plus, what is that? 42 plus x equal 180. Oh, I can't fit that there. It's too small. But you should have an equation, and then you should have added these two numbers first and then subtracted from both sides to come up with 42. So please be honest, because tomorrow when you practice this, I'm going to ask you to show your work. And so you might as well do it right today. It should look like this, that first one, and all the other ones that I did. All right. That's it. I hope you enjoyed learning how to apply one-step equations to triangles today, and you will practice it some more tomorrow. And you'll also do a little more practice to prepare for your test on Thursday. See you guys later.